Encaustic artist Andrea Bird of waxworksencaustics.com talks about encaustic safety concerns and precautions.
One of the things when you're setting this up at home, you want to make sure that you're not standing over your wax when you're working with it. And you also don't want the wax to be blowing over the surface where you're working. So at home when I have this set up, I have a reverse fan that I got at a stained glass store called a fume trap, and it pulls the fumes away. Alternatively, you can just get a small tabletop fan and have it on this side of you so that the air is blowing this way. People often worry about the toxicity of encaustic. I find that with the beeswax, it's less so than the microcrystalline. And the odd time students will get headaches, and so then I suggest that they do the fan, and that seems to take care of it for the most part. If you really get into it in a big way, having like a kitchen vent, the kind you have over your stove with a fan, the exhaust to the outside would be a great idea. And I also find that if it's kept at the right temperature, around 200 degrees, that I haven't had any issues with it. In terms of knowing what your griddle is, because often what it says on here isn't actually right. So I do have that griddle thermometer that I was running around with earlier. You start off just on the lowest setting and put your pot of wax on and see if it melts, and then just keep inching it up until your wax melts, and then don't go any further. If you're inching up, it should never get to the point where it's actually smoking, The griddle thermometer is a great safety tool because it really double checks that for you. Sometimes people mark the place on their griddle with a piece of masking tape and then just unplug it rather than turning it on and off every time. They just know. So linseed oil is the only solvent type thing that you can use with encaustic. Anything else like turpentine, any other kind of solvent, any varnish is not recommended at all because it will interact with the beeswax and create this kind of chemical reaction that eats away at the surface. So linseed oil is fine, and the other thing you can use glossy sealer, and it's like the painting is always buffed. It's always shiny. It doesn't have the beeswax smell. It's the only disadvantage, but it does keep it totally shiny. So look for it on the website soon. I will have it. There's a big selection of oil paints here, and you can just go through them. It's in your notes. There's certain colors you don't want to use. You don't want to use Prussian blue because it releases cyanide. And certainly I stay away from any colors that have a health warning on the label.
Visit waxworksencaustics.com for more encaustic tips, to find out about workshops with Andrea Bird, or to purchase encaustic fusing tools and supplies.